So the Nintendo Switch 2 programmers really messed up this time. They really need to make sure that everything is working 100% before releasing the Switch 2, and then unfortunately, they didn't. So you might have heard this issue with the Nintendo Switch 2 battery, where you play Cyberpunk 2027 or another high visual game, and you put it in handheld mode, you're at 100%, and the next thing you know, you're down to 15 or 10 or 5, depending on your Switch 2. Well, for everybody that does visuals like that, they know they're gonna freak out because when you see that bar pop up on your screen saying 5%, your mind goes, "What the hell just happened? I was just at 100% and now we're down to 5? Something's not right here." But then you keep playing the game and you're playing it for an hour, 2 hours, and you're fine. Well, Nintendo jumped up into the world and said, this is a glitch, a visual glitch that should have been fixed already, but here's how you fix it. We're going to make you hold volume up, volume down, and hit the power button to shut it off. Let go of that, push the power button back on, it'll pop up a screen, turn it off, and bada bing, bada boom, your battery life bar is fixed. Well, unfortunately, I don't believe it fixes it forever. I'm sure it's going to happen again and again and again. But I'm sure Nintendo will bring out a firmware update sooner or later to fix that whole system issue. And yes, it's a system issue. Just because it shows battery life, that is part of your main system running. And yeah, if it affects the battery life, what else does it affect? I'm sorry, Nintendo really should have fixed this issue before releasing the Nintendo Switch 2 to the public. So as we're waiting for Nintendo to fix the battery issue with the new firmware update, let's go move on to our next subject. And I'm talking about this evil, dark subject that no one liked from day one when we saw the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. What am I talking about? I'm talking about key cards. Yes, the evil key cards that people are buying now just to play Hogwarts Legends or other games that are not just physical key cards, but also paper key cards. Yes, so there is so much misinformation out there. Let's get into the subject right now. So as you know, in the wild, we have two different types of keycard. The first type is the paper type that we've been getting for years with Fortnite. Nothing special. You put the code in, you download the game, you put the case on the shelf, and you call it a day. The other kind is the new Switch 2 cartridge that has the license on it. Now, you might agree or disagree with this comment. You own the license to the game. That makes you own the game. Now, why do I say it like that? Because people have been telling other people that you do not own the game when you have a key card. Well, how do you own physical media? Is that you own the license to that physical media. So when you buy, let's just say, a Super Nintendo game and you wanted to emulate it, well, by law, you had to own that actual Nintendo game and dump it to own it. So what are you doing in this case? You got the physical license in your hand, aka the Switch 2 cartridge. You throw it in, you download the game to your system, and you own the game. As long as you have that key card, you own the game physically. Yeah, it kind of sucks that it's not on the game cartridge itself, but that license gives you the right to emulate it, gives you the right to actually play it on any system you want. And that is why you can literally sell that key card to your friend or to GameStop or wherever you want for physical cash because you own the rights to play that. Now, the other misinformation is it is being played on a server when you're playing the game. Well, that is not true. That's actually been debunked about a day ago. I was watching YouTube and the guy showed that when you download Hogwarts Legends or whatever game you playing off of a key card, you can literally shut off the internet connection and load the game like you have the physical media for like Cyberpunk 2027. So yes, you do not need to be connected to the internet to play these key cards. Only type of keycard you will need to be connected to the internet is if you're playing something like Fortnite or some kind of other battle arena type game that is only online servers. But games are like Hogwarts Legends or even some of these other ones, you will not need to be connected. Now, that's the thing that people are not understanding. These are actual physical games, even though they're not the full game on the cartridge or any part of the game. I disagree with that. I think Nintendo or whoever is making these key cards should have literally put like half the game on these key cards and then the other half you had to download so you can be saving space in your memory. And that comes up to my next subject is the memory filling up too fast on the Nintendo Switch 2. So as we all know, Nintendo Switch 2 came with 256 gigabytes of memory, 3 times the amount of the original Nintendo Switch. This sounds fantastic on paper, and this is a big deal for me and everybody else that's a consumer of the Nintendo Switch 2. What people didn't realize when we saw that on the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is that key cards are going to take up a lot of memory. Downloading is going to take up a lot of memory. So when you first get your Nintendo Switch, they ask you to transfer your Switch games to the Nintendo Switch 2. It's optional. You don't have to. But right off the bat, that's going to take a lot of memory because you don't get to choose which games you download immediately. You can change it after you start the download, but most of the time people probably not even paying attention and everything is downloading. Well, that takes up a lot of memory. And then when you get a key card like Hogwarts Legends again, and you put that in, all that memory from that game you just downloaded is taking up more memory. And say you got another key card, or you downloaded a AAA game from the eShop, that's going to take a lot of memory because all these games are upscaled to 4K, 120 hertz, or somewhere in between. And these games take up a lot of memory real fast. So what do you have to do to get more memory? Let's go out and buy an SD card from some company that makes Express. And most likely you will want to find something that's bigger than 256 gigs or even 500 gigs. I would suggest finding one that's like 2 terabytes that they make them, or at least a terabyte. Now, I still don't know how much the Switch 2 can handle for an SD card. I know the original Switch was 1 terabyte. But again, I think Nintendo needs to make a revision of the Switch 2 that just has more memory built into it. Now, remember, when we got the Switch OLED, it came up with more memory. And I still have my Switch OLED, and it doesn't have full memory, and I have a lot of games on there. But again, that's not a 4K system. That's just a 1080p system, so it makes a big difference on memory. So do I love the idea of having a Switch 2 with 4K output? Well, of course I do. I love visuals. I love seeing those textures. But what I don't love is having such a hard drive so small and having to download so many games because you have key cards instead of all the physical game on the cartridge. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way. So if Nintendo's listening, let's upgrade the Switch 2 hard drive to a bigger hard drive. Now, it will probably never happen unless they do an OLED. They might do some cool things when they get a Switch 2 Lite, if they make it. Now, I'm not saying they are making it. I'm not saying they're not making it, or they're making an OLED or not. We all know Toshiba helped with the Switch 2, and they wanted to put the OLED screen on there, and Nintendo said, no, we're not doing it. But who knows in the future? Maybe they'll hook up with Toshiba again and make a Switch OLED with better memory. But when it comes down to the memory, guys, remember, you're using the memory every time you have a key card to install a game. You're using it when you download a AAA title. You're downloading it anytime you download a game in general. You're losing memory so fast it makes your head spin. And Nintendo didn't care how much memory you had to spend for its key cards. And yes, I keep going back to key cards because I think key cards could have been so much better, but they messed up the situation. I don't understand why they had to use key cards still to this day, even though I understand how they work and all that now, like I told you, about the licensing and all that. But they could have done better to keep memory lower on the system by using a key card that had 75% of the game on the key card instead of having nothing on the key card besides the license. Now, I know this is about memory, but you got to realize that everything that happens on the Nintendo Switch 2 at the moment takes up memory. Anytime you download an app like YouTube or something, that takes up memory. Anytime you take pictures, that takes up memory. Anytime you take video snapshots, that takes memory. Anytime you upload a new game or upgrade a game like Zelda Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, that takes memory. Nintendo, I know, is trying to keep costs down, but they should have put a terabyte hard drive on the Nintendo Switch 2. So before we end this video, I have a question for everybody. Do you think Nintendo still should lower the price of Mario Kart World? Do you think that $80 price point after you guys have been playing it is really worth $80? Leave comments down below. Now, in the beginning of this video, I did say I would answer if I had a Nintendo Switch 2 yet or not, and why. So yeah, I do not own a Nintendo Switch 2 just yet. This was my fault. As you know, last week I showed this video here. saying, hey, Nintendo Switch 2 is at Walmart. Go pick it up right now. And I decided to come home, think about it. Do I really want to spend $550, $600 on a Nintendo Switch 2? Sat here for about 3 hours going, I might as well just go get it. So I drove back to that Walmart, and by the time I got there, they were all sold out. I was really shocked. So even the other day, I went to Target. I went to the other Walmart. They're all sold out. So my bad. I should have picked it up when I saw it. So no, D.T.V. 83 does not own a Nintendo Switch 2. But I'm hoping when the new Zelda game falls, it's a Hyrule Warrior one, maybe they'll have a limited edition Switch 2 with the Zelda theme, and I'll just pick it up then. So anyways, yes, I will have a Nintendo Switch 2 probably by December, my hopes. And I will do the unboxing and all that fun stuff and give you my honest opinion. But at the moment, no, I do not own a Nintendo Switch 2. I have poured one at Best Buy. I have played it on Best Buy. That's how I know about Mario Kart and my opinion about Mario Kart. And as soon as you guys leave your opinion about Mario Kart, I will let you know my opinion. And thanks for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll catch you on my next video. Peace.